is going on, everyone? Mega here from Mega Exam Research Openings, and welcome to a new tutorial. The links are all in the description, and if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification button to receive updates for when I post new videos. And be sure to follow me on Twitter, and you can also check out my Discord. The links are all in the description. Now, in the previous tutorial, I showed you how to take a model from Make Human and import it into Maya, and I also mentioned in that tutorial that you can actually also import a model from Make Human into Blender as well. However, there is an add-on for Blender that that is built into Blender that does the same exact thing as Make Human. So it's actually better to use that add-on for Blender rather than use Make Human if you're importing it into Blender. Now, in this series of tutorials, what we're going to be doing is that we're gonna make a simple anime style classroom map, and we're to later import it into Unity. We're gonna make the model in Maya, and then we're gonna texture it, and then we're gonna export it to, and so we can use it in Unity. Now, before we go into that, there are a couple of things we need to do. First off, go to your display, heads-up display, and poly count, and make sure that that's enabled, because when for future videos, when we go into character development, you're gonna want to have your poly count window open, because for games you want to keep an eye on your poly count, because depending on what type of game you're making, you're gonna want to be lower, or have a lower poly count, or you're gonna want to have a higher poly count. It just depends on what type of game you're making and what kind of engine you're using. But the next thing we need to do is we need to go to Window, Settings and Preferences, and Plugin Manager, because when it comes to when we're ready to render this map, we're going to be using Arnold, which is the realistic render of Maya, and so you're going to want to make sure it's enabled before you render. And so to do this, we go into our plugin manager, and then we go to scroll down until we see Mitoa.mll and make sure it's enabled. With it enabled, we can go back to Window, then go to Settings and Preferences, click on Settings, and as you can see right now, by default, the sizing options for models is set to centimeters. When we're making a map, it's easier to set it to measure by feet. So because we're gonna set it to as realistic proportions as we can, so we're gonna measure it by feet. So so now that it's set to feet, click Save. Okay, and now we can begin on making the map. First thing we're gonna do, press on the spacebar, then go to View, Image Plane, Import Image. I'm gonna go to my desktop, and I'm going to scroll down until I see Classroom, and this is an image I found on DeviantArt by a user named Badrill, so you can check out his art if you're interested. And so I'm going to click Open, and now I'm going to press W to use my Move tool, move that up a bit, and then I'm going to click on this one, and let's scroll in so we can see it. And as you can see, it's really small right now, so let's click on the image, go to our image plane, and let's rotate it on the y-axis by 90 degrees. Now you can easily just use your rotate tool by pressing E, and that brings up your rotation tool, and you can easily just rotate it that way, but it's easy, but I prefer to do it this way because it's faster. Okay, now let's select it again, and this time let's press R. And for when I'm resizing, I actually like to use the resize tool rather than actual numbers, because I don't know how big I need to make it. So we're gonna click the center one, so we're resizing it on equal proportions on all axes. Let's resize it quite a bit. And if we need to resize it more, we can always resize it. Let's press W now and move it out of the way, because we don't need it right at this moment. All right, let's deselect it, and now we're going to click on Polygon Plane, And it's going to create a polygon plane in the center of the grid. And now we're going to resize it. And now this one, I actually know how big I want to make it, but it's easier to just use the resize tool rather than just typing the same number three times. So I'm going to resize it to 30. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, that's at 30. And now I'm going to right click and go to edge mode. Now select this one and double click to select the entire row. And now hold shift again and double click to select the entire row. And now I'm going to click Control E to use my extrude tool. And let's bring this up to 15. Okay. And now I'm going to zoom in, and I actually think that that's a bit small for the image plane, so I'm going to select the image plane, resize that even more. There we go. That's better. Let's move it out of the way. Actually, I'm going to need it, so I'll put it right there. Select that, right click edge mode, go to mesh tools, insert edge loop, and let's make the first edge loop right about here, and the second one like right about here. Okay, and for the rest of the edge loops, and let's make another one actually right here, and this next one right here, and let's make another one right about here, and another one right about here. And now for the rest of them, we're going to use our, no, actually, I think I'm just stick to edge. No, yeah, I'll use my multi-cut. All right, and now let's zoom in. And now we're going to make this center line right here. So it's going to be right about here. And you know what? Before I go do that, let's do another edge loop. So it'll be easier. There you go. Okay, now I'm ready for the multi-cut. So now I'm going to click right here, press shift to go straight, and as you can see, it's not perfectly straight. So let's straighten it out. Now click on the select tool, and now we can select it again. And if it's not perfectly where you want it to be, you can always just change the vertexes as you need them, as you need to. Okay, and now I'm going to go back to mesh to insert edge loop to create the next edge loop. Oh no, that's not the way I want. No, it's not going the way I want it to go. So I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. So I create another one right here. Yeah, right there. And go right there. And this is the bottom of our. And this is the bottom part of this. And it looks a little crowded, I know, but bear with me. All right, and now we're going to create another one right here and right here. And then another one right here and right here. Oh, that's perfectly straight. And now we're going to do that 3 more times. And for the second one, we actually want it to be perfectly aligned with this one. And if it's not perfectly the same, don't worry about it. This is just It doesn't, we're basing, because we're basing this off the drawing, but it can be different if it needs to be, if we want to. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now do another one. For this next one, I don't actually need to make the left one because it's going to be right here. And this is going to be our third line. And now one more. No, it's actually 3. And you know what? I'll actually make it a bit. I'll actually do it right here. And now one more. Okay. And now we're ready to extrude. But before we do that, let's go with the vertex. And let's try our best to straighten our vertexes. This one's a little bit crooked, so straighten this out. Straighten this one out as much as we can. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, so if it's a bit crooked, doesn't matter, as long as it doesn't, you can't really tell that it's crooked. As long as it's not majorly crooked, it's perfectly fine. All right, and now I'll select these and move these in. And actually, I'm gonna move this one over to straighten it out. Okay. And I'm gonna do the same thing for all of them. Yeah, that's right about there. Okay. One thing to be careful about in Maya is that to move around in 3D space, you have to hold on to the Alt button, and that's right next to the window button. So sometimes you accidentally press on the window button instead, and that brings up the window screen, which you don't want. Okay, and that's pretty good. So now Control E. Oh, no, gotta go to Object Mode. My mistake. I forgot to select the actual pieces I'm gonna extrude. So I'm gonna select these and rely on the reference image if you have to know what parts you have to extrude. This is a window, so I don't extrude that, and that's a window, so I don't extrude that. This I do extrude, and this I do extrude. All right, and now let's move this over a bit, and now Control E, and let's bring this out, and there we go. We have our window. Now, one thing you could do is that you can actually select these faces right here and delete them, but you don't want to do that because when you're making a model, you don't want any holes in your model. And as you can see, when we turn around, we have a bit of a hole right here. So we're gonna fix that now. So I'm gonna go to edge mode, and I'm gonna select these edges. Now Control E, so I can extrude this edge. And I'm gonna try my best to move it as close to the other side as I can. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna fix this now. All right, now we're gonna right click, go to vertex, and now we're gonna hover, or we're gonna click on this vertical line tool right here. I'm not even sure what it's called, but it's one of my favorite tools. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna merge our vertexes. So we just do it. We click on a vertex and just pull it over to the vertex we want to merge, and it merged it. Nope. Looks like I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. I thought I can do it the quick way, but no. I'm gonna have to do it the way I originally did this. Because I actually already made this model to practice, and I thought I could just skip and do it the short, skip like the way that I originally did it, and just do it a lot faster. But apparently I can't. I have to do it the way I originally did it, which is gonna take some time. So instead of that edge, we're gonna basically just do it piece by piece. And I'm gonna create a vertex right about here. Go back to this. If you need to create a vertex, you can easily just do that. And let's see if I can merge these without any problems. Yes, no problems. All right. Same thing, same deal. Edge mode, extrude, and do this for each one. And I'm gonna try and do this as quickly as I can to save time. No, that's not the one I want. There we go. Looks like that one's a little bit crooked, but so I'll just leave it. Yeah, it is a crooked. So let me just fix that really quick. Yeah, and this one's crooked also. There we go. Okay. Back to edge mode. Extrude. Doesn't have to be a major extrude. Merge vertexes. Won't let me merge it for some reason. Maybe now I'll let me merge it. There we go. That was weird. Oh, looks like I'm gonna need a vertex right there. There we go. And I'm going to need a vertex. And just as I was saying earlier, be careful with your Windows tool, with your window button, as that's what just happened to me. No. Okay, and now I'm going to merge these. Merge these. There we go. Now go back to edge mode. Select these. Extrude that. Let's bring it closer so I don't run into that problem again. Vertex. Select that. There we go. Yep, just like that. Same thing, same deal. As close as I could possibly make it. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Maya is weird sometimes. Another good thing about this, about doing this, is that it decreases the amount of vertexes and polys you have surrounding. So yeah. Okay, it's good. That's as close as I'm gonna make it. Merge vertex. I'm gonna need a vertex right there. There we go. The horizontal one, this tool right here, I've actually never used. So I don't know what it's used for. It says it's a merge vertex tool, but I've never used it. Oh shit. Wrong vertex. Good thing I noticed that. Yeah, so I've never used that tool. I've only used this tool right here, and I find it to be extremely helpful. I use it a lot. And so in future tutorials, you're gonna see me use this tool a lot because I love it. It's a very handy tool. And so yeah, we're just basically just cleaning up this hole right here, because I tried when I originally made this model, I actually tried to do it the much faster way of like filling the hole by just going to mesh and fill hole, but that didn't work, so I had to do it this way. So that's why we're doing it like this. But sometimes you just need to clean up your the mesh you're working on. It's not a fun thing to do, but it's necessary. Alright, edge mode. No, this one's going to be a bit tricky. And I'll select this one. No, wrong tool. There we go. Extrude. Let's move it back. Get as close as I can get it. because for some reason it won't. Okay, that should be good. Oh, before I continue, I'm just going to quickly save. Because I don't want it to crash, as that has happened to me before. And if your model crashes on you, you will cry. Trust me. No. There we go. It needs to be closer. Maybe now I can do it. There we go. Hate it when I do that. And there's a bit of a hole right there, so I need a vertex right there. This one's going to be, this is why I thought it was going to be, I knew it was going to be tricky. All right, we're almost done. Just one more. Oh, wrong cursor. That's another thing you want to be careful with when you're working with the target web tool. It's a different cursor than your select tool, so you want to be careful because you can't select edges with that cursor. Bring it as close as you can get it. There we go. And now vertex and one last target weld. Again, it won't let me do it. So it needs to be closer. I don't know why it's doing that. There you go, that should be good. Before I create the extra vertexes I need, I'm gonna just quickly do this, and now I'll just quickly create the extra vertexes I need. Now I need another one. There we go, and now I can finish off with the target weld. There we go, and now I'm done. And now before we continue, let's right click and go to face mode, and let's just quickly select these faces. It's loading a little bit slow, so I'm just going to quickly go delete history so I don't run into any problems. Yeah, if it's running slow, then just delete your history and that'll fix that problem. And now I'm just going to reverse, go to mesh display and reverse. And there we go. And now we have our completed window. And so we have to do this 4 times. Now, what I could do is I can just do the same thing that I just did 4 times, or I could do it the way I'm going to do it. Go to object mode, go Control D, W, duplicate the entire thing, and then I'm basically just going to delete everything but the window. Because when you use the duplicate tool, it creates a new mesh. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to delete all this. So it's just one mesh, and then we're going to put that in here and just duplicate that mesh. So face mode. And just delete everything but the window. Make sure not to select any of the faces of the window, because you don't want to delete that window by accident. Almost done. No, not what I want. Not what I want. No. Gonna have to select these the old-fashioned way. A good tip when modeling is that you want to take as much shortcuts as you can, because modeling takes a long time, and that's what sets aside the amateurs from the beginners, is just how fast you can do it. So if you're serious about getting into modeling as a career, then you want to learn all the shortcuts you can, because people are going to hire you if you can work fast, because game design is a tight schedule. Almost done. Okay, now delete. Now right click, go to object mode, and move it back to where it needs to be. And according to the picture, it's close, but not too close. So it's like right about there, okay? And as you can see, it's not actually gonna fit in the room. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna select that object, go to edge mode, and select these edges. And with the move tool still selected, just drag that out. Now this is a bit long than I think what I think I'm gonna need, but this is just so I don't have to resize it again. All right, now object mode. Why won't it let me go into object mode? There we go. Okay. Now this is the easy part. Control D, W, and we want to make it equal. That's about equal. So that's 3. Control D, and move it over again. That's about equal. Okay. All right, and now go back to edge mode and reselect these edges and move this back. Okay, and now we're done. Well, we're not completely done. This is basically everything that I wanted to do in this tutorial. So now we have the basic shape done, but we still got quite a lot to model. We're going to be adding a bookcase right here. We're going to be adding a little stage and like a podium, and on this wall right here we're going to be adding like a billboard Gonna be adding our chalkboard right here. Gonna be adding lights, and also I'm gonna be going for Unity. I'm gonna be going into skyboxes, showing you how to use third person. This is gonna be a long tutorial series. And so yeah, that's gonna do it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, as I said, we're gonna be covering. We're gonna be making the bookshelf and probably do like the stage and the podium. And that's gonna do it for this tutorial. So yeah, this has been Mega from Mega X Anime 6 Openings, and I will see you again next time.